Happy New Year, Noir Nation. Let me be the first to welcome you into 2025, baby, with the Melanin Mayhem podcast, where I highlight some of the most prolific criminals you've never heard of, but you should definitely be up on what the fuck they did. Melanin Mayhem with your favorite country girl, Renee Davis, is dispelling the myths about the types of crimes black people ain't out here supposedly doing, because we know that's lies, right? Speaking of mayhem, welcome to episode 38, y'all. I'm feeling myself a little bit, maybe you can tell. So, I don't know what might be said during this episode. I am drunk off the possibilities of 2025. We got 52 weeks to mayhem it up in this piece starting right now. If this is your first time tuning in to the mayhem, welcome. This is a fantastic way to start a new habit, binging Melanin Mayhem. And to my motherfucking ride or dies, the ones I affectionately call the Noir Nation, Suge, what's up? I ain't talked to y'all since last year. Thank you so much for rocking with the country girl. And we turning up for 25, baby. So many things on the horizon for us. I wish you a year full of love, laughter, prosperity, and kindness, and plenty of mayhem, baby. So for the first episode of the new year, I figured we would start off with some money, because everybody like money, right? Some of y'all made the traditional black eyed peas and collard greens to usher in that money. Well, today, I'm going to tell you about a crew that put in that work and hit a lick for multi-millions, y'all, and almost got away with it. This crew pulled off the heist of the century, and I don't know about y'all, but I had never heard of this story, which is crazy as fuck, because these boys, the caper that they pulled, it gave them the title holder of the largest cash robbery in U.S. history. When somebody else decided that Lil Bank was gonna take Big Bank. Imagine this setup, Noir Nation. Bullet-resistant doors all around. Panic buttons everywhere. Cameras, alarms. The vault is 18 inches thick or some shit that you just can't get through. And pretty much everybody in that bitch got a gap. So we talking state-of-the-art 1997 security measures, y'all. You're not gonna stroll up in here, fuck around and find out type of situation if you do. But if you know the security system and how the people move around while they at work, you might be able to flip the script and come out with a grip. I'm fixing to tell you about a mastermind and his crew of 5. They plotted and schemed the almost perfect crime. Audacious? Absolutely. Prolific? Positively. I ain't gonna even draw this out no more. Bring it to the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. Alan Pace III and his robbing crew. I like to call them Alan and the Jack Boys. All right, Noir Nation, let's get right on into it. Now, Alan Pace III is from Compton, California. You know what I'm talking about? Crip walking all around that thing. This is a regular Compton nigga. He worked for Dunbar. You know, the armored car company that rolls around with trucks full of money? Yeah, that one. Well, Alan wasn't a driver. He was a regional safety inspector. Every day he went to work just surrounded by millions of dollars in cold, hard cash, baby. Can you imagine? Every day, right over there, is enough money to buy you a whole new life. And every day you go to work and see that shit, you can't help but fantasize about what you would do if you had that money. Ooh, child, just imagine. Anyway, Alan had been on the job about a year and a half, and his job was to make sure that the trucks were straight at all times. I'm talking about inspect every inch of them hoes. Keep the record straight for all the trucks. That was his thing. He was safety. He knew all the drivers, their routines, what their schedules were, their routes, their lunch breaks. It was his job to know everything. Now, see, Alan also had a girlfriend named Tamiko Carnes that also worked at the Dunbar Depot. She was in charge of security footage processing at the depot. You know, the place where all the money is? All she do every day, all day is sit in front of screens that monitor every inch of the place. So after a while, Tamiko know the layout of the job like the back of her hand. And that's her job, right? Madame excelled. She knew how the cameras moved around and where all the blind spots were. So we got a dude that's in charge of safety, inspecting, knowing everybody's route, and knowing what the procedures are for various situations. We got his girl that's got access to the security footage. That means she can run it back or accidentally hit delete. Oops. Y'all see the plan already, don't you? Well, come follow me now. Alan is working there, but he ain't really feeling it. Alan got bigger dreams. Alan got a big imagination. And if thinking up a master plan was a person, it would be Alan. So Alan and his boo, they talk about the job. Of course, how can they not? They live together, they work together. And see, in my mind, one day somebody said something slick. It went something like, shit, we ought to hit Dunbar ass up for a little change. And then somebody was like, well, shit, we could. And then that feeling of, oh, shit, is we finna do this? Hell, fuck yeah, we finna do this. And it was on. This is like the summer of 97. So Alan, like I said, he know the procedures. Y'all remember Frankie? What's the procedure when you got a gun to your head? Well, Alan knew the procedure, and he took what he knew and what Tamiko knew and got to work. All right, bet. So they do some prep work and they start trying to figure out who all they can trust to get down with the plan. Now, when you fixing to pull a caper of this magnitude, you need some niggas you trust. Trust that they can do the work. Trust that they ain't gonna do something to fuck up the plan. And most importantly, trust that they ain't gonna run their damn mouth to nobody. Period. Besides him and Tamiko, he got another homie at the job. So that's 3. Alan think, we need about 2 more. 5-person crew minimum. We should be able to get this little work done. Now, in the midst of trying to see who else they're gonna bring on, y'all tell me why Tamiko get fired. Boom. Service is no longer needed, ma'am. Tamiko got the boot in August of 1997. They say she was misappropriating shit. Last paycheck is here, ma'am, and now you are no longer able to help with the heist. Shit. Okay, it's a setback, but it's all right. Alan's still there and his homie. So now he need to find 3 accomplices. But then his homie get fired. Oh shit, Pace. What you gonna do now? Sound like God trying to tell you something. Maybe this ain't a good idea. Shit. Alan was like, nope. Only thing I hear God saying is, let's go get this money, bro. But now, Alan need a whole crew. The first person that Alan think of is his best friend, nigga named Eugene Lamar Hill Jr. Now, Eugene and Alan been friends since they were knee-high to a butterfly. I'm talking they go way back. Now, they don't work together before, so Alan know how he move and how he handles himself under pressure. Ain't no way Eugene gonna flip. He always had Alan back. We talking 18 plus years of friendship. Okay, that's 1 down. Need about 3 more. When you're pulling capers, I think it's a good idea to go with the people that you have a long history with. This ain't the time for no new friends. And Alan must have thought so too. Next, he went to go holler at his boy Freddie McQuarrie Jr. Ooh, that's a black ass name right there. Freddie McQuarrie Jr. Ain't no doubt that nigga black. And guess what Freddie do, y'all? This nigga security guard for a church. Freddie. What would Jesus do? Apparently go get this money, cause Freddie was all in too. But shit, I don't really guess you can blame him. I ain't counting nobody's pockets or nothing, but I don't think top flight at the church making that much coin. Freddie might need a bag. And like Eugene, Alan been knowing Freddie since they hit puberty. Another day 1. Okay, so that's 2 down, need 2 more. So then there was Terry Brown. Now, Alan and Freddie, they in the security field, right? They had their own little security company going along, and they have worked with this dude named Terry Brown. So even though he had known Terry for as long as he had known Eugene and Freddie, he get money with this nigga. So it's a level of trust there. Enough trust to ask Terry if he ready to lay a motherfucker down. And like Brandy, Terry was like, for sure, I wanna be down with what you finna pull. I wanna be down with this caper you finna pull. So now they're a strong crew of 4. And Alan thinks that they can pull it off without bringing anybody else into the plan. These some capable niggas. They bout it. What more do you need? So he got his crew. Now it's time to tell the crew the plan. So these niggas get started training one Sunday after church. I guess they needed the Lord's blessing or something. It's much more likely that the church where Freddie was working at, so it was convenient. So they in the parking lot, and this nigga Alan break out the chalk. Nigga, we finna hopscotch? What the fuck is this? No, y'all. Alan put it down on the ground. I'm talking this nigga draws out the whole layout of the motherfucking building where he worked, where all the cash at, the Dunbar Depot. This nigga need to work for the city the way he drew up that motherfucking blueprint of that building, complete with where the cameras were located, the panic buttons, and the niggas with guns. Like he laid it all out. And then he begins to teach his crew how they gonna get in and get out without firing a shot. So Alan's plan is they're going to need 2 vehicles, a car and a U-Haul. They're going to use the U-Haul to put all the money in. It's at a depot, right? And that's built for trucks to be backed in and loaded. So even though there's millions of dollars at this joint, the actual factual security on that third shift is pretty damn minimal. Y'all know graveyard shift never be fully staffed. There's 1 security guard on site, there's a dispatcher, and maybe 4 to 7 other employees that do various jobs like count the money, look at the money, sing sweetly to the money. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They got to go in, yoke up the security guard and the dispatcher before they can hit the panic button. Then they got to get everybody else and lay their asses down before they can signal for help. Sounds like a piece of cake for these superior security specialists. Don't you just love confidence? So they running the plan. They meeting up, they running the plan. Then they realize they probably gonna need one other person to help keep the employees held down while they help themselves to the money. So they get to talking amongst themselves about who the fuck else can we bring in that won't fuck up the church's money. I mean, this is like late August at this point. So they decide to bring in this dude named Thomas Johnson. He's gonna be the +1. The guys have worked with Tommy before, so he cool. They run some drills with Tommy, and the nigga fit right in. So, okay, cool. They're gonna practice some more, and Alan says somewhere around the end of September, beginning of October, they should be ready to do the damn thing. They're gonna do it on a Friday night, because there's plenty of money in the depot. But you know what they say about the best laid plans, right? Murphy's Law be in full effect. Just when everything looking fabulous, why Alan get played like Craig? And fucked around and got a phone call and they told him, sir, your services are no longer needed. We're gonna need you to drop the motherfucking keys off and we'll have your last paycheck. Y'all, they say they fired him because he was tampering with them trucks. But fuck, the hell we gonna do now? Alan is the inside man. He is how all of this shit gets to go down. Cause he got the keys to the kingdom, literally. Keys that Dunbar is saying, run that shit back. Now, a regular, scary-ass motherfucker such as myself, right about now, I would be like, you know what? God is definitely trying to tell me something. Let me sat my ass down before I fuck around and find out. Apparently, this is not what Jesus would do. Oh, but not Alan. Alan, an audacious motherfucker. Master P, he was no limit. This nigga bout it. Alan wasn't finna walk away from that money without trying to take what he felt he could. So what does an audacious nigga do? He calls up the crew and was like, hey, the plan going down tonight. This is not a drill. Y'all heard Cat Williams. It's time to put your big boy drawers on and mount up. That's what we trained for. Dunbar wants us to march, and march we shall. Y'all, I have watched the 688 50 times. I can almost recite the dialogue like I can The Color Purple. Pick up the pace, ladies. Okay, I'm done. I'm through. Back to the heist. Now, y'all know, I do not promote or encourage thievery. Full stop. But I am a very big believer in if you gonna do it big then. I'm talking balls to the motherfucking wall. And while our normal fare is the killing and raping variety, I do not encourage them to go balls to the wall. I will just report the news. But in this case, where we talking about misappropriation of funds, again, I ain't telling you to do it or how to do it. But if you do, and you do the shit real good, I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to give you your props. Just like I'm finna tell you about how Alan's plan went in reality. He called up Eugene. He tell Eugene to go get the U-Haul. Then he call up the rest of the crew and he tell them it's going down tonight. Everybody know their position. One man with the truck, one man with the security guard. But as he running through it, Alan realizes that they may be outnumbered by the people working in the vault area. Shit! They need one more person. God damn it! Who the fuck can we call at the 11th hour? It's too late to teach them the plan like we know the plan. But Alan felt that it was critical that they had one more body. And that's how Eric Boyd ended up being part of the crew. Now me, being the type of Virgo that I am, would have had a major problem at this point. On some, wait man, homie, you just gonna call an audible like that? We been practicing and shit. I mean, we like the men's U.S. Olympic track team. This the 4x100. You finna pull somebody out the stands to run the ankle leg. My nigga, you tripping. This nigga can't go inside. He don't know how to stay out of sight of the cameras. Well, Alan got an answer for everything. This nigga was like, hey, new dude. He just gonna stay with the truck. And when I hit him up, all he gotta do is back into the bay. Simple as that. All right, bet. I can roll with that. This nigga done thought of almost everything, y'all, including a motherfucking alibi. I'm talking a damn good alibi for every last one of them. Guess what it was? They went to a party. Simple genius. The homies headed out for a night on the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. Sorry. Y'all know I slip off sometime. They go to a party in Long Beach. And I say that this is genius because the party goers, when they get asked by the cops, they gonna say that they saw each and every last one of these men at the party. You mix alcohol and a banging DJ, and nobody remembers exactly how long they actually saw anybody for. So the guys are chilling and they mixing it up at the party, you know what I'm saying? They dancing with a few chicks. They making sure they dap up everybody so everybody see their face. Then they get a couple of cups of that liquid courage. Y'all know how it go. And then one by one, they put their church finger up. Because y'all know when you put your church finger up, people can't see you. And then they slipped out the door. One by one. Okay, alibi established. Now it's time for phase 2. Time to go get this money. So it's about 12:30 in the morning when they roll up on the depot. Now to make it look good, they make it look like the door was jimmied a little bit. But Alan used his key to get in there. The Dunbar Center is at 600 Mateo Street. Everybody in the crew is strapped. They got their guns, and they even got a shotgun to make it look real good. Everybody masked up. Everybody gloved up. They got walkie-talkies and headsets. Man, these boys mean business. Now, Alan knows that the security guard normally takes his lunch break at 12:30, and he was right on the money. They go in there, they grab up the guard, subdue his ass, break out the duct tape, wrap his ass up like a present. And like I said, it's the third shift. It ain't that many people working the graveyard shift, so they don't have a lot of employees to deal with. But Alan know that when the vault employees go on break, they don't close the door to the vault. So they waited in the break room. And one by one, as the people came to take their breaks or come to check on who just went on break, they snatched them up, taped them up. Once they had all 5 of the employees, now it was time to make a withdrawal. They go in the vault. And YEAR Nation, from floor to ceiling in that bitch, nothing but freshly stacked bundles of $20 bills. Ooh, they say it was $60 million in that bitch. Ooh, my lord. Lil Bank finna take Big Bank. They call old boy in the truck, tell him he on. So he pull up to the spot and start backing into the bay. Well, your boy must have not had too much practice backing up because he hit something. Okay, no problem. He pull out, straighten up, pull back in, back on into the loading dock. Nobody paid any attention to that little bitty piece of the tail light that broke off. So old boy in the truck, he backs it up into the bay. They got the money in carts and they got an assembly line in that bitch. They just throwing packs of shrink wrap money in the back of the truck. Once they emptied the vault, Alan stopped by the security room, took the VCR. But then he went to another office, jimmied open a cabinet and the backup VCR. Cause I'm saying, there's always a backup. He took the backup too. No traces left behind. You gotta think, this is the late 90s. This is still the age of the VHS tape. We weren't storing anything on the cloud yet. No tape. You can't see what the fuck went on. So then, one of the dudes that they laid down, Alan take the keys to his truck. He get in the truck. The other dudes get in the U-Haul. They drive to the stash spot, change out of their stealing clothes, put back on their party clothes, and they back at the motherfucking party by 1:30 a.m. And with all that alcohol flowing, it was like they had been there the whole time. Genius! Oh my lord, these audacious motherfuckers just pulled off the heist of the century, literally, without firing a shot in less than 20 minutes. Nobody moved, nobody gets hurt. Now back at Dunbar, somebody must have got loose or wiggled over to the panic button. I don't know. Either way, the police come and do the police shit, okay? And this is federally insured money, so of course here comes the FBI. They take one look around and it's like, nah, bruh. This was an inside job. It wasn't no forced entry. This door wasn't forced open. Somebody just scratched around the knob to make it look like they popped the door open. They knew exactly where to go and they knew exactly what to do. One of the employees, the ones who were laid down, she crying and shit, and she was like, one of the robbers sounded just like Alan. I know that voice. So the police and the FBI, they investigate every inch of that place. No prints. no DNA, no surveillance video. The only evidence they left behind was a piece of plastic that looked like it came from a taillight. Dunbar puts up a $25,000 reward, and then their insurance company, Lloyd's of London, they put up another $100K. So that's $125,000 for any information that gets us to the motherfuckers that took our money. The FBI sent that little piece of plastic off to be analyzed. Come to find out, it comes from a 14-foot U-Haul truck. Okay. That really don't narrow things down, though, because it's a million of them hoes rented out every day. But they just put the test results in a file while they waited on more evidence to surface. When it was all said and done, YEAR Nation, them boys walked away with $18.9 million. That's the equivalent of $35.9 million today. That's Mega Millions Powerball money. And until 2024, it held the record as the largest cash robbery in U.S. history, I tell you. A year passes. Dunbar bumps that reward up, and then silence. A year passes. Nobody's taking the reward. Nobody's called in with no credible reports. So Dunbar bumps the reward up. They offering $250,000 now, but nobody says anything. Maybe these niggas get away with the shit after all night, huh? No. So I told y'all that Alan had this thing planned out to a T, even down to how to get off that dough without getting caught. Now, right after everything went down, of course, Alan was suspect number one. As per usual, when you work around a lot of money, when shit go down, the polygraphs come out. Everybody at Dunbar gotta take one. And when you know everybody except Alan and his old lady passed, because baby, they went and got the current employees and the past employees. But baby, a polygraph ain't no evidence. It just lets you know that your hunch is probably right. Now, Alan say, look, I'm bad under pressure. I ain't never did right with tests. And then he skip on with his life. Now, he must have seen Set It Off or something, because he didn't make no big-ass purchases in his name. He wasn't going shopping and shit. The nigga didn't break up his little brokey car. He let his mama sit this one out. He ain't put nothing in her name either. He also didn't hang out with nobody from the crew. Like, them niggas did the exact opposite. They acted like they didn't know each other. No calls, no texts, no pagers, no kicking it at the sports bar. They ain't playing basketball. Nothing. Nathaniel. Didn't nobody pop out with 26 rims and shit? Alan laid low and played the regular broke nigga role to a T. And because of this, the authorities didn't have probable cause to get a warrant to come up in his shit. They couldn't touch him at all because everything they had on him, circumstantial. But just because the FBI couldn't see the money being spent, didn't mean that money wasn't being spent. Alan had a plan for everybody to follow to clean that money undetected. They set up multiple businesses with multiple layers of LLCs, and they used third parties to put shit in their names and handle all the money. Alan, he had this dude named David Matsumoto, who was an immigration attorney, and David's office manager, Joaquin Ben, they handled all Alan's transactions. Attorney Matsumoto, he bought the cars and the houses and the investments, and he got a cool $1 million for his time. Thank you. And one of the businesses that he opened up, Extreme Entertainment, that was Alan and Eugene's business together. They threw parties and they promoted comedy shows and other live events. They rented out anything you needed to throw a party, from bouncy houses to bartenders to strippers. If you wanted it, they could rent it to you. And then Alan and Eugene, they getting checks from various companies that they are consultants for. That money is flowing. Now, Alan used some of his lesser-known family members to purchase investment properties. You see, he had a cousin named Timothy Anderson and a homie named Lamar Wade. He used them to invest $1 million in properties all over Southern California. You know, if you tip good, you can find somebody that'll do whatever the fuck you want done. And Cuz was like, okay, and was able to pull off this con with whoever was in charge of selling these properties that were being purchased. And I need y'all to remember that, because in a minute, I'm going to tell y'all about some fuckery and shenanigans that happened. So then one of the other members of the crew, Eric Boyd, his daddy had a charter bus company before any of this shit went down. Well, after the heist, his business really blew up like shit. His son Eric was getting a big boy check every week from Boyd One Incorporated. And everything is looking good. They doing it up big boy style, undercover. These niggas is living and they are not getting caught. Cause understand the FBI was still on Alan Pace's ass. They couldn't devote 24/7 resources to watching Alan. So when they was looking, Alan wasn't doing nothing. But they just knew if they stayed on it, something would shake loose. And did. In September of 1998, Eugene fucked up. Now Eugene punk ass, our day one brother, he is the one that got caught slipping. You see, y'all, I ain't no criminal. I don't even play one on TV. But even I know that if I have lifted some money from a bank or something, take that motherfucking bank wrapper off the money. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? That little band, that little piece of paper that's wrapped around a stack and is stamped with the name of the financial institution that this money belonged to, along with the date and shit that this money was bundled. Yeah, that. I know to take that shit off first. You might find this money, but it ain't gonna have no identifying markings left. I ain't even gonna have them in the same bands. I'm talking everything loose, and I'm literally putting all that shit in the washing machine and dryer. These bills look too new. The money you find on me gonna look like it's been through some things. These Jacksons ain't even gonna be facing the same way. My money gonna look chaotic. But now Eugene, So check this out. Eugene finna buy some property. Now, I don't know for true, but in everything that I've read, I'ma say whoever was doing the transaction with Eugene was not melanated. You see, the deal Eugene was making was for like $100,000. So he take this person a box with stacks of $20 bills. And every last one of them say Dunbar. Then he back out the deal and tell the dude he want his money back, but I don't want it back in cash. Just send me a cashier's check. Okay, laundered. But the realtor wasn't moving fast enough for Eugene, so he started low-key threatening dude that if he don't run that money back now, it's gonna be trouble. Now, this realtor that Eugene doing this business with, he ain't no dummy. He took one look at that shit and knew instantly that this was the money from the heist. So what he do? Oh, you want to threaten to shoot me in the pinky toe, huh? Let me show you something. And promptly calls up the FBI and was like, excuse me, is that $250,000 reward for information on the Dunbar heist still available? And the FBI was like, yes, indeed. What you know? Oh boy gave them the money and Eugene's punk ass on a platter because he still had his little cut of $20,000 bundled up. So now Operation Done Rob is a go. They put Eugene under surveillance for a whole year. I'm talking everybody was in on it. The LAPD, the FBI, and the motherfucking IRS. All the alphabet boys. They was like, oh, you got some money and you didn't give us our cut. You know the IRS don't play. Luther told y'all that. It's three peoples I don't fuck with. The I, the R, and the S. Clearly, Eugene didn't know nothing about that. So while they working in the background, they figured it out that Eugene was the one that rented the U-Haul. So then they go holler at his old lady. They pressure her, and then she starts showing them the money that he got stashed at her house. They see that his sister got power of attorney over several trusts in her brother's name. So when they go holler at her ass, she was like, hold on for a minute, I need to make a phone call. And then she hit somebody beeper. Next thing you know, here go Eugene pulling up. And he was like, shit, what y'all over here fucking with my sister for? And so the FBI let him know what time it was. Eugene instantly changed his tone. Eugene was like, I ain't really got time to chop it up with y'all right now. How about I come see y'all tomorrow? The FBI was like, no, you will not run off into the sunset on us, nigga. And they arrested that ass on the spot. Now, this is September 22nd, 1999, when the FBI arrests Eugene. And guess what? When they arrested him, y'all, why he had a grip of money on him like he was Floyd Mayweather or some shit like that. And in them stacks that he had on him, they had motherfucking Dunbar wrappers on them. You stupid motherfucker. They take his ass down for questioning. And this nigga folded like freshly laundered clothes. Like, they really didn't have no hard evidence on Eugene. Yeah, there was a tail light, but y'all know it's 100 U-Hauls rented every day. They didn't have nothing else except what the IRS dug up on his financial prosperity. Nigga, you got big money. You can get the best lawyer money can buy. But instead, you fell for the okie doke because they had him in that room talking about, you know you done fucked up, right? You know you done fucked up, right? And instead of remaining silent, this nigga gets verbal diarrhea. Y'all, this nigga told all the business. I'm talking he snitched on everybody. It was like this nigga was auditioning for the Georgia Mass Choir the way he was singing. How the fuck you the reason the cops find the money from the heist, and then instead of taking one for the team, cause you know we gonna take care of you and your family, you decide to bitch out and shit on everybody. That's snitching. We talked about this a few episodes back about the difference between snitching and consulting to the police. If you in on it and you tell, you snitching. If you ain't had shit to do with it, but you just know a little something, you just consulting with the police. Period. Eugene was snitching. Now back to Eugene's snitching ass. After he done told all the business, he signs his paperwork and he pleads guilty on December 22nd, 1999. He pleads guilty to conspiracy, using a gun during a crime, and income tax evasion. Eugene got 9 years fed time. So now that Eugene done dropped the dime on everybody, what the FBI do? Start surveilling the crew for the next couple of months. And then one by one, they started snatching their asses up too. They went to Vegas and they started watching Thomas Lee Johnson. Now, Tommy Lee Johnson, he stayed at the casino. That's how he laundering his money. He'll buy a shitload of chips and then have people cash the mugs in, all less than $10,000 of course, so it wasn't no paperwork to fill out. Thomas got a girlfriend. So the FBI flags her name and they tell the Las Vegas Police Department, if y'all run into her for any reason, let us know. Well, one night, she called the police on Tommy because he ended up putting them paws on her. Oh, yes. You know you done fucked up, right? The only thing worse than a scorned woman is a scorned woman you done put your hands on. Now she out for blood. The FBI pull up on her and she tell it all. She said Thomas had a big job a couple of years ago in LA and he been spending big bread ever since. We go to the casino and we drop stacks and it all come out clean as a whistle. And they're like, oh, really? Thank you, ma'am. And on December 3rd, 1999, they go to pick up Thomas at the casino. He at the tables, so they don't want to arrest him on the floor of the casino, right? So they have security go tell him that somebody hit his car. When he come out to see what happened, they yoked his ass up. All right, that's Tommy Lee. Now, they're going to go get Freddie McQuarrie. They got him on February 18th. Then Terry Brown on February 25th. Now, please believe all three of them flipped. They jumped on the snitch on Alan and Eric train with Eugene in exchange for reduced sentences between 8 and 10 years. When it was all said and done, Tommy Lee Johnson got 10 years, Freddie McQuarrie Jr. got 7.5 years, and Terry Brown got 8 years. And of course, they promptly put out the word to Alan and Eric, don't make us come looking for you. Well, Alan was like, fine, I ain't gonna make you come looking for me. He called him and was like, look, I'm gonna turn myself in. And that's what he did on February 28th, 2000. Now understand, just because he turned himself in, the whole time, Brother Man was like, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. I ain't had shit to do with no goddamn robbery. So they indicted Alan, Eric, Terry, Thomas, and Freddie on March 16th of 2000 on conspiracy to commit robbery, interference with commerce, and using a firearm during a crime of violence. Everybody is accounted for except Eric Boyd. Now, Eric, in my mind, was like, fuck that shit. Like, for real. What you don't understand is that Eric's birthday was March 18th. It was coming. It was his 29th birthday at that. His last year in his 20s. Bro didn't want to spill his birthday in jail. So I'm sure that the plan was to turn himself in after the birthday turn up. Please tell me why the FBI arrested that ass on his motherfucking birthday, March 18th. Y'all so petty. Y'all could have let that man have his little fun. Instead, y'all got a pair of bracelets for his birthday. So they also, in the midst of this, are snatching up the go-betweens. You know, the people that bought shit in their name for the crew. Far as I could research, at least 3 of the homies caught charges. 2 of them just pleaded guilty. The third one was like, let's crank up the jury. But as for the crew, nothing left to be done now except try Alan and Eric, and also Timothy Anderson. They tried them together. The crew tried to get the cases severed, you know, so that each one of them would go to court on their own instead of all together. But the courts was like, nah, y'all a crew. Y'all gonna stay together. Now, in February of 2001, jury selection begins. Now, Alan, Eric Boyd, and Timothy Anderson are all being tried together. Now, you're probably asking right now, Nay, who the fuck is Timothy Anderson? And why is he being included? He wasn't part of the crew. Well, Noir Nation, remember when I was telling y'all how they laundered the money? Timothy is the cousin that Alan got to go with his friend to do that $1 million deal for those investment properties in Southern California. And for that ass got to pay the price. Well, I also told you that I was going to come back to it because there was some shenanigans and fuckery that was going to happen. Well, now is when the shenanigan and fuckering is happening. Now that Timothy got a charge for being 10 toes down for his cousin, in my mind, Timothy was planning to stay 10 toes down. He wasn't planning on snitching. So Timothy's lawyer files a motion with the court saying that Timothy Anderson is not fit to stand trial. He's not competent. Now, I had to do some research on exactly what the fuck that means, and y'all check this out. So, to be declared incompetent is not the same as insane. To be incompetent, you either have to A, not be able to understand anything about what's going on inside of a courtroom. You don't even know what a courtroom is. Like, you have no understanding of anything. Like, who is that in that house coat over there? Oh, that's a judge? What a judge do? What about that man over there with that gun? What you mean a bailiff? Who that is? What's a lawyer? You know, your IQ has to be like -5 to get down like that. Or B, you have to not be able to help with your defense in a rational manner. Like you can't even talk to your lawyer intelligently to figure out how the hell y'all gonna handle this case. Rational is the key word. Now, I don't believe Tommy had a low IQ. He know what the fuck go on in court. But that other thing, not being able to assist in your own defense, I think this is what Cuzzo rested his hat. You see, he didn't want to snitch on his cousin. So he started putting on for the city. This nigga played big crazy. The same nigga that was able to be part of a $1 million deal is now crazy as a bedbug. They was in there talking about your Arnold. He had smoked some bad shit and he ain't been right since. So the court sent that ass to get tested because you ain't supposed to be able to pass them tests. Many have tried to plead incompetent to stand trial, but very few succeed. You got a better chance of being drafted into the NBA or hitting the lottery. But Cousin put on a good show, and on December 21st, 2001, the judge ruled that Timothy Anderson was not competent to stand trial. This nigga done played crazy, and it worked. Can you say skated on that ass? Kinda. Because, see, you don't just get to walk away. You get committed to a mental institution for about a year and some change while they try to help get you to be competent so that you can stand trial. But if they can't get you to competent, you can't stand trial. And I couldn't find anything else on Cuz. So, in my opinion, he skated on that ass. So now it's just Alan and Eric, the last two. And please understand, they stayed G'd up. Like, I'ma tell you, that damn Alan denied that shit like Peter did Jesus. I don't know what Eugene talking about. I don't even fuck with that man like that. I don't know why he dragging me into his shit. I would never steal from my job. I love Dunbar. I was crushed when they fired me. Alan and Eric didn't cop to shit. So you know what that means. Time to make an example out your ass. An example they did. Eric Boyd got 17 years fed time, and on June 18, 2001, Judge Lourdes Baird gave 32-year-old Alan Pace 24 years fed time. She said that she gave him that long-ass sentence because he didn't show no remorse and wouldn't cop to being in on the crime, that he was the mastermind and he knew it, and everybody else knew it too. She also told Alan that he had to pay Dunbar and the insurance company their money back. $18.9 million in restitution. Pause. Do they really think a motherfucker gonna pay that money back that they misappropriated? Like, Madam Judge, I ain't got nothing against you, but do you really think this nigga got damn near $20 million under a mattress somewhere? And if he did, do you really think he just gonna give it to them? Girl, stop. My bad. Here y'all go. Stop the madness. Well, anyway, Alan was sent to the Federal Correction Institution, Safford, in Swift Trail Junction, Arizona. He did 19 years and was released October 1st, 2020. And just to tie it all up with a little bow about everybody else who went to jail, the last to be indicted were the lawyer and the office manager that Alan was using. I'm talking about Matsumoto and Joe Quinn. They were indicted on 71 counts of money laundering. They got a cute little sentence of 2.5 years. Man, that white collar crime, man. White collar crime. Now, when the dust settled, all they recovered was $5 million out of $18.9 million. See, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. If you gonna do the shit, then do the shit. Now, that $5 million, that was mostly made up of cars and houses and jewelry and shit. But as far as cold hard cash, they only got $2 million. Now, the authorities think for sure there's $14 million in cash hid somewhere, and ain't nobody talking. Now, you know they not giving up the search. Please believe the FBI scoped out everybody that came to court. Like Santa, they was making a list and checking it twice, trying to find out who's naughty, who's nice. Cause somebody helped hide the money, and somebody helped spend the money, and some more somebodies are still out there helping launder that $14 million that ain't never seen the light of day. Ooh, my Lord, y'all. Wasn't that a mess? That was a crazy ass story. Them niggas almost got away with it. And I don't really have much more commentary on this one, y'all. I mean, other than if you gonna do it and you get arrested, your lawyer need to be on speed dial. Like, y'all should have prepared for this day. To be unprepared is that's a mess. Oh, wait a minute, I do got some more shit to say. I really want to know why the fuck was they still chilling in place? Cause please believe, if I ever get like, let's call it $3.5 million, which would have been their cut, when you split it between 5 people, please believe when I get my cut, I'm cutting the fuck out. Elvis has left the building, y'all. They gonna really have to do their work and find my ass, cause ain't no way in the hell I'd have been in California. Baby, me and my money would be somewhere without an extradition treaty, sipping my ties in the sunlight. Out of everything that went down, to me, this is where they fucked up. Eugene could have got caught all he wanted. That nigga wouldn't have been able to get him shit on me. Y'all remember a couple of weeks back, Derek Todd Lee story? Remember when the police left? The minute they left his house, he got ghost. I'd have been just like his ass. Ghosted a motherfucker. Just like I didn't leave a trace at the scene of the robbery, I wouldn't have left a trace at wherever the fuck I was living. Just here one day and poof the next. Now, with regard to that $14 million that ain't never been recovered, once I bounced from doing my bid, I would have kept it pushing. I know they're going to be watching, but you can't watch me 24/7. And one day I'm going to slip out on their ass. Please believe it. And that, YEAR Nation, is the end of our first episode of the new year. We did that shit. Tell me what you think by dropping a comment on the streaming service where you listen or on any of the social media pages. I'm Melanin Mayhem Podcast everywhere except X. Y'all know they special over there with Elon. Over there, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. There is a great discussion group on Facebook called the Melanin Mayhem Podcast Discussion Group. The doors are open for everybody. And this week, my special shout out goes to Susie Q. Miss Susie Q is listening to the Melanin Mayhem podcast in Australia. Man, that is amazing and humbling to know that the country girl is causing mayhem down under. Now, Susie, I went on Google to get me some good old Australian slang, and this is what I came up with. G'day, mate. I'm so glad that you think the Melanin Mayhem is fair dinkum, even if the host is a little bogan. Y'all, that means that the Melanin Mayhem is something good and it's hosted by a slightly uncouth person. I can roll with that. Tell me how I did, Susie Q. And thank you for spending some of your time with the country girl. All right, y'all. I'm going to be back next week with another tale of mayhem. All right, y'all. I'm going to be back next week with another tale of mayhem. And until we talk again, I wish you a very happy start to your new year. Y'all know the drill. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, YEAR Nation, and the country girl is out of here.